Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to me, your host, Christian Watson. So, my friends, there was an incident, and there have been a few instances in my life where I used to think that the American flag was the creme de la creme of American exceptionalism. It was the thing you're supposed to um, revere and anoint if you believe in the inherent goodness of the American ideal. And so for a very long time, I would always put my hand over the heart whenever the Pledge of Allegiance came on. And I would say the pledge. Then I began seeing other people not do it. And that immediately struck me as unpatriotic, as uncivil, as anti-American. And really, when I got into the reasons as to why they didn't do it, many of them actually were unpatriotic, uncivil, and anti-American. If you ask my personal opinion, many of them had objections that were to do with race philosophy and America doesn't represent me as a black person. That's bullocks. That's nonsense. But I began reconsidering my position because the philosopher is he who self-examines. This is the Socratic maxim. They self-examine, they look at their position in reality, they consider their relationship with certain concepts, and they see if those relationships are justified or sound or whatever. And after a time, I stopped saluting the flag during the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem. Many people ask me, why is this? Aren't you being anti-American? Why don't you love America? Aren't you being anti-patriotic? And for a very long time, I didn't have an answer for them, but now I think I do. I think, my friends, no one, especially people who love America, should feel obligated to put their hand over their heart and pledge allegiance to a object, because that object is not America. What do I mean? The flag, my friends, represents universal principles. And I think sometimes people get caught up in the symbol itself without considering that the values the symbol represents stands independent of that form. The values of America can be represented in many different ways. The value of voluntary exchange, which is essential to America, which is an escape from the king's attempt to put unjust taxes on people's property and quarter troop. The principle of voluntary exchange and movement of people, of individuals in any area, that's an American principle, a uniquely American principle that is exemplified and protected by the structure of our government. I can participate and manifest that independent of a symbol. The principle of free speech, which is an American principle. Of course, it wasn't born in America, but it is exemplified in America more than anywhere else in the world. Even our Western counterparts like England or Ireland or Scotland, where you can be arrested for saying jokes on the internet. That itself is an American principle that I am manifesting right now in this video. When we consider a symbol more important than what a symbol symbolizes, sorry for the alliteration, we're engaging in idol worship. We're engaging in idol worship. And if you think that it's important to worship physical ideas or physical things, that's fine. I think that misses the point of the American ideal, though. It misses the point of us being Americans, united by a shared heritage, by a shared idea. And ideas are spiritual, people. So that's the first thing. I don't consider any one symbol essential to the propagation and the perpetuation and the exemplification of the American idea. But also, number two, the American idea allows me not to salute the flag. The American idea is all about the freedom of conscience. This is what our founders fought for. And if I'm going to embody the American idea fully, my conscience needs to be as free as possible. So I should be able to conscientiously decide if I want to salute the flag or not, independent of social pressure. If you pressure me or heckle me as not being American for using my American right to use my conscience in a way that is beneficial to the human idea of harmony within me, that is beneficial to my own being, then you, my friend, are actually the one who is being anti-American. And then number three, the practice of pledging your allegiance to an object every single day. Well, first of all, the practice of pledging your allegiance to a nation, in my opinion, is a little concerning. Because again, what are nations? Nations are really just abstract ideas that happen to occupy a geographical landscape. But if we look at the very core part of nations that we interact with, the nation, my friends, is you and me. The nation, my friends, when you go to the store and you go to buy milk, you go talk to the cashier. The nation is when you go to your local city council meeting, you have a conversation. The nation is the school board. The nation is the interactions, the some interactions that Americans have in their everyday lives. And we don't pledge allegiance to nations if we understand in that way. We pledge allegiance to our families, our friends, people who we come into voluntary association with. And this is the American idea. The only thing that you pledge to do as an American inherently is to not violate other people's rights, take their step, or violate their consent. That's what you pledge to do as an American. But unfortunately, this idea has been so deviated from in the American experiment because what it means to be an American has been so diluted with the largesse of government, has been so diluted with the sort of overextensiveness of state programs. It's been diluted by a sort of cultural confusion that conflates Americanism with rote activities like looking at a flag and saying, oh yes, I'm allegiant to this. No, that's not how things are. Nations only correspond to certain physical properties in reality. And those physical properties are things you may not even interact with. Right? If we view the nation as Washington, D.C. or the government, then we obviously do not pledge our allegiance to the government at all. Many of us don't, at least some of us do. Many of us don't, because that's the core objection of Americanism, having to pledge your allegiance to any body of men. But if the nation is people you love, people who you are in concert with every day, who you do mutual intercourse with, sort of mutual commerce, the intercourse of commerce, as many of the old writers would say, then great. That's what America, the idea of America, is about. It's about those interactions. It's about conscientiously deciding if those interactions are good for your life and desirable for your point in existence. But the right activity of simply saluting that flag or pledging allegiance to that flag every single time you feel obliged to is not at all what you need to be an American. Now, if you want to salute the flag or pledge allegiance to the flag, there's nothing wrong with that. But I should not be lambasted or attacked or accused of hating my country because I am using the principles that my country is predicated upon to make a decision that is best for me and my intellectual development. And for all the soldiers and veterans out there, I respect you. And I understand that you have sworn a duty to the country, you have sworn a duty to the idea of the nation or whatever, and I respect that and I respect you. And this is not addressed towards you. The same American idea, the same freedom of conscience, which gives you the ability to pledge allegiance to that flag and go out there in the battlefield to fight for it, is the same American conscience that gives me the ability to respect you for it, to love my country, but to decide that looking at that flag every day and saluting it is not conducive to my own being. It's not conducive to my own needs. And guess what? Those two ideas of America can coexist, live in harmony, and perpetuate the spirit that was behind the American experiment, if we let it. Think on it, my friends. My friends, I love you, and if you love me, patreon.com/OfficialCWatson, PayPal, OfficialCWatson@gmail.com, Locals, ChristianWatson.locals.com, and my Discord is in the description and the comment section down below. I love all of you guys, and please stay pensive. Bye, guys.